There is a queue of karts then going out onto the circuit. It is the third and final heat for the seniors. It is once again Jess Backman that will be on pole position. One good race with a second place finish last time out, but a bad race in race number one, so she needs to make this stick. Nicola Scholl, the championship leader, is alongside her. Lars Lambrell's had two good results so far today. Luke Ibanez is going to be alongside on the second row of the grid. Glenn Van Paris has had a third and a fifth so far today. Christopher Drayspring has picked up a couple of penalties today, but has been quick. He is on the outside of row three. Berke Besler, the Turkish driver for Bouvon Power, is the driver that has won both races so far today, and both times he's had to come from 7th on the grid. Ruud Beidendijk is alongside him. On row 5, Kay Van Berlo and Thomas Drouet. Row 6, Josh White and Gary Donnelly. Row 7, Daniel Macichik and Jack McCarthy. Row 8, Joldy Putch and Jordan Brown-Nutley, who's been storming through the field so far today with a couple of cracking drives. Row 9, Ido Cohen and Adrian Renadan. Row 10, Noah Ruvers and the very quick, but so far this weekend fairly unlucky, Jonathan Hoggard. And he's had bad luck in qualifying. He was really quick in all the practice sessions, but qualifying, it didn't go his way. Race number 1 didn't go his way. Race number 2, though, he did manage to make up some ground and get himself up from 20th on the grid to 9th. Row 11, Rinus van Kalmthout, the runner-up in last year's championship, and also third in this year's standings at the halfway point. And with work to do, Tom Croydon is alongside. The penultimate row 12, Josh Skelton and Baptiste Moulin. Row 13, Stephanie Le Vascont, Spanish champion and familiar with this circuit, British driver, is alongside the Russian Denis Mavlanov, who's had to come from stone last on the grid. And so far today, Denis has done a super job. He, in the first race, came through to 11th from the back of the grid. And in the second race, he came through to, well, he finished 9th on the road, but then with penalties applied to others, he moved up to 8th place. So Mavlanov making a really good fist of this so far. But Jess Batman with a really strong drive to fend off Glenn Van Paris for second place last time out. Nicola Scholl was right on her tail as well, but she fended them both off. And she has so far made good starters from pole position. She's led both times going into turn 2. The first time they hit the brakes. She's usually been leading after the first lap or two of the races as well. But Berke Besler is driving from really controlled racing at the moment. He just looks absolutely on top of his game. He's been patient where he needs to be patient, and he's picking up very good overtaking manoeuvres without any dramas where he has needed to do. So he's fourth back on the left, 209 with his hand on the carburetor there, ready to tweak the two-stroke mixture and get the cleanest possible start to the race. So they're coming round then at the end of this second formation lap, ready for 9 laps of racing here in Zuera, Spain. It's their last race of the day. Who'll be on pole position tomorrow? We get the race underway. Jess Batman again makes a very good start. The blue race suit, Lars Lambrell tucks in behind her, and then Glenn Van Paris, I think, is going to be third, although Berke Besler is trying to go with him as they go through turn 2 and down into the hairpin for the first time. Everybody lunges for the inside line in that second group. There are a couple of karts coming together, and they make contact down at the hairpin at turn 3. One other has to go off the road completely in avoidance of them, so they're all delayed. But at the head of the field, it is Batman from Lambrell, from Glenn Van Paris, I think, as they come back down towards turn number 6. Yes, it is the 206 card of Glenn Van Paris, one of the front runners in last year's championship, that is there in third place. And we'll try and pick up the two drivers that drop down the order when they come back through at the end, or 3 drivers at the end of the lap. They're busy overtaking each other down at turn 6, but already coming into turn 10 at the end of the first lap, there are our top 2. Jess Batman then, low slung in the cart, the Swedish driver leading the way from Lars Lambrell, the Dutch driver, and the Belgian Glenn Van Paris there in third place. Fourth over the line is Berke Besler. 5th place is Nicola Scholl. Christopher Drayspring with a decent start once again is in 6th position. Luke Ibanez 7th at the end of the first lap. Kay Van Berlo 8th. Jack McCarthy, a good start to 9th place. And then it is down into the hairpin for the second time for the race leaders. Also in the top 10 you've got Beidendijk. A very good start for Rinus van Kalmthout, who's made up 10 places in this race already on the first lap to go up into 11th position. So Rinus van Kalmthout with a very, very strong first lap of the race. As you see the leaders making their way down towards turn 6. Just look to the monitors to identify the 3 drivers at the back of the field. Ruud Beidendijk, Ido Cohen and Baptiste Moulin, I think, were the drivers that dropped down the order. Now, Berke Besler has just set the fastest first sector on this lap and has closed up to the 3 ahead. He's taking with him Nicholas Scholl and Christopher Drayspring to a point as well. So we're going to have 6 together for the lead of the race here as Jess Batman comes out through turn 10. She's going to hang on to the lead of the race at turn 1 because right on her tail, look, is Lars Lamberel. Yep, she holds the line. She's going to brake late enough into turn 2, but it's all changed down at turn 2 for third place because through goes Berkay Besler. Nicholas Scholl, I think, has gone with him, and both of them go past Glenn Van Paris, who drops down to 5th place, and it's side by side for the lead of the race down at the hairpin. Who's going to come out on top? I think Jess is just about hanging on, is she, to it, as no, Lamberel, I think, has got through. So here they come. And yeah, Lamberel did make it through at the hairpin, so he now leads the race. Down to 2nd place is Jess Batman. Berkay Besler with them in 3rd position, looking very strong once again. Very patient drive from him. Likewise, Nicholas Scholl has been very smart in his driving so far today. Very patient. The driver that could very much wrap up the championship tomorrow if things go his way with a round to spare, which would be quite some achievement in such a fiercely competitive environment. Christopher Drayspring is still there in 6th place. Luke Ibanez in 7th position. No changes inside the top 13. Ido Cohen is coming back up the order. He's back up to 14th place. Rinus van Kalmthout into the top 10 now, just ahead of Jack McCarthy after this very good start from the back of the field. And a little look at the inside for 2nd place from Berkay Besler at turn 1. Another look down the inside at turn 2. But again, patient driving. He doesn't take any big risks here. Denis Mavlanov not making such a lightning start from the back of the field this time. He has gained places, but he's in 18th position. What about Jordan Brown-Nutley, though? Fastest lap of the race for him. Jess Batman is starting to fall back a little bit now. She's down to 3rd place behind Berkay Besler as we look back into turn 4. So it's Lamberel, Besler now 2nd, Batman 3rd. That in the background, running onto the grass, was Christopher Drayspring, and that might cost him into turn 6. I think he's going to fall out of the top 6 now. So Lamberel, Besler and Batman the top 3. Van Paris is 5th. Van Paris is 4th. Scholl is 5th. Ibanez up to 6th. Kay Van Berlo up to 7th. Jordan Brown-Nutley up to 8th. And that moment on the grass did cost Christopher Drayspring. He's dropped down 3 places to 9th position in the 2-1-4 cart. With Van Kalmthout still in the top 10. And then Jonathan Hoggard from near the back of the field is up into 11th place now in the number 300 cart, having a very good run and charging along almost with nothing to lose, really. So we'll watch for his progress in the second half of the race. Lamberel 4/10 of a second clear of Berkay Besler, who doesn't need to win the race to make sure he gets pole position. A change from 4th place there as Nicholas Scholl makes a move down the inside of Glenn Van Paris to get the position. The best lap of the race goes to Joel de Puch so far, who is a long way back. He's in 17th place, but is the quickest man on the track with no traffic ahead of him. And Jordan Brown-Nutley has just gained a place on Kay Van Berlo to go up into 7th position. The leaders, meanwhile, there's no longer 4/10 of a second between them, which it was at the start of the lap. The gap is now down to about 1/10 of a second because Berkay Besler is flying on a personal best lap. He was the quickest through Sector 2 until Jordan Brown-Nutley went across the timing beam and went even quicker. So Jordan Brown-Nutley looking for another super top 6 finish here. He's made great progress so far today, as I've mentioned, as the leaders then come through. Jess Batman still hanging on to 3rd place, just ahead of Glenn Van Paris. Lamberel, Besler and Batman still the top 3. Van Paris in 4th, Scholl in 5th, so they swapped back around. Scholl was briefly up to 4th, and Luke Ibanez is running in 6th position as it stands. So if it stays like this, according to our Apex Timing virtual system, Berkay Besler would be on pole, Lars Lamberel would be 2nd on the grid, Glenn Van Paris will be 3rd on the grid tomorrow, Nicholas Scholl 4th, Jordan Brown-Nutley, if it stays like this, will be 5th on the grid for the pre-final, Ibanez in 6th place, Batman will be 7th on the grid, and Van Kalmthout will be 8th on the grid, which is a good comeback from a poor result in qualifying. That is as it stands, but Berkay Besler, as I say, he could lose 2 or 3 places in this race, and he'd still have enough to be able to get pole position with his 3 results combined. But he's now leading the way ahead of Lamberel. He's got his nose in front. It was almost inevitable, really. He got through ahead of Lamberel. Batman in 3rd, Van Paris in 4th place, Scholl in 5th, Ibanez in 6th place. Our new race leader starting to edge away now from them. He's just set a personal best lap, which got him through into the lead and has started to edge him clear now. And Batman not that far back in 3rd place, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, though all tied together. Glenn Van Paris and Nicholas Scholl have been joined by Ibanez and by Jordan Brown-Nutley. So that second group of 4 battling over 4th place, making their way into the left-hander at turn 4. And side by side for 5th place, and another change of position. And that was Nicholas Scholl making sure he got down the inside. Jordan Brown-Nutley in the mix as well. Ibanez is up to 5th. Scholl and Brown-Nutley battling as well in that little group. And Van Kalmthout's up to 8th place now. Hoggard's up to 9th place. Kay van Berlo in 10th position. So Scholl and Brown-Nutley both moving ahead of Luke Ibanez now to 5th and 6th places. We've got 2 laps to go at the end of this one, and Besler is now 0.3 of a second clear. So on for the perfect set of results here. From the 4th row of the grid, he's on course for winning 3 out of 3 heats. That will nail him on for pole position. Lars Lambrell, if it stays like this, will be on 10 points with his results from the heats combined. For 2nd on the grid, Glenn Van Paris 3rd on the grid with 12 points, if he can stay where he is at the moment in 4th place, having had a very solid day so far. There's more attacks though down at the hairpin for that 4th place as Nicholas Scholl goes alongside Glenn Van Paris. Not for the first time he gets through at the hairpin, so Scholl up to 4th place now. Van Paris drops back 2 places, I think, because I think Brown-Nutley's got past him as well. So Jordan Brown-Nutley, yeah, he did. He got through into 5th place. Van Paris loses 2 to 6th place. He falls. In fact, Ibanez maybe getting through as well. So it's going a little bit wrong here for Glenn Van Paris. He started to tumble down the order. This might affect whether he starts 3rd or 4th on the grid when we work it out in a moment or two's time. But he's still got a little bit of time to get himself back up the order here. Paris down to 7th place now. Ibanez did get through. So it's Besler, Lamberel, Backman the top 3. Scholl 4th, Brown-Nutley 5th, Ibanez 6th, Van Paris 7th, Van Kalmthout 8th, Hoggard and Dreyspring rounding out the top 10 as we go on to the final lap of the race. 4th and 5th nose to tail once again. Jordan Brown-Nutley trying to go around the outside of Nicholas Scholl at turn 2. He got alongside. That was an audacious manoeuvre, trying to get past the championship leader, the driver that's been unbeaten in the finals so far this year, Nicholas Scholl. Brave attempt. It didn't quite work, but they gave each other room. There was no dramas, and they survived. But with Scholl now a couple of lengths clear. Look at Luke Ibanez, though. He's really come at them now. So 3rd, 4th and 5th. Sorry, 4th, 5th and 6th altogether. Jess Batman is starting to come back onto the tail of Lars Lamberel as well. So she's got really good pace here today. And a 2nd and a 3rd place will be good results for her. Now, Nicholas Scholl will be starting 3rd on the grid if it stays like this. Brown-Nutley 4th. Van Paris, having lost those places, will be 5th on the grid. So that lap where he lost a few places has cost him a row on the grid. It's cost him a couple of places on the grid. But no dramas whatsoever for Berke Besler. He's made it look easy, and believe you me, it is not. He crosses the line. He wins the race once again. 2nd place to Lars Lamberel. 3rd place to Jess Batman. 4th to Nicholas Scholl, 5th over the line Jordan Brown-Nutley, 6th Luke Ibanez, 7th Glenn Van Paris, 8th Jonathan Hoggard, 9th Rinus Van Kalmthout, and Christopher Dreyspring rounding out the top 10. That's provisionally then Berke Besler that will be on pole position for the pre-final tomorrow with 3 wins out of 3. Lars Lamberel with 10 points from his heats will be lining up 2nd on the grid tomorrow. Nicholas Scholl 12 points, 3rd on the grid. Great driving by Jordan Brown-Nutley from 2/3 of the way down the grid. He's come through on every single occasion, and he, provisionally, is going to be 4th on the grid tomorrow for the pre-final. Glenn Van Paris will be 5th, so he was going to be 3rd. He lost those places with 2 laps to go. He's going to be 5th on the grid. Luke Ibanez, the home racer here for Spain, 6th on the grid. Jess Batman, 7th on the grid. Really just by dint of that one bad result in race number 1. Otherwise, she would have been much higher up. And then Josh White has come through nicely in a couple of races and had good consistency, and he is going to be 8th on the grid for the races tomorrow. And you can see there, Gary Donnelly, unfortunately, was the one driver that didn't finish the race. So real dramas for the man 2nd in the points coming into this week.